We begin tonight with debates regarding the new Clark City as to whether or not it should be utilized as a quarantine site for Wuhan OFWs who might be positive for nCoV. Ria Fernandez has the story.
The new Clark City in Capas, Tarlac is now under lockdown. The 2020 ASEAN Para Games, supposed to be held at the NCC next month, has been postponed. This as the athletes' village is set to be converted as a quarantine site for Hubei OFWs. The base's Conversion and Development Authority says the facility can provide the best condition for the Filipino repatriates. The NCC is near a polyclinic operated by the Philippine General Hospital, but Capas residents are not pleased with the BCDA's plan.
Kinuha na po nila yung mga lupa dito at saka mga bahay, tinaboy na kami dito, mga kapitbahay namin. Tapos yung mga virus na yun, dalhin pa po dito.
Capas Vice Mayor Roselia Rodriguez also laments the lack of consultation.
Capas is being promoted as the tourism capital of Tarlac. Palagay nyo, pag yung stigma na dito nadala o na-quarantine yung mga repatriated Filipinos from Hubei province, somehow yung mga tourists will have second thoughts kung pupunta sila dito.
Rodriguez cites the case of Filipino soldiers from Liberia who served as peacekeepers of the United Nations amid the Ebola virus in 2014. When they returned to the country, instead of being quarantined in a Capas military camp, they were instead brought to Caballo Island near Corregidor.
We're appealing to our President, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, our DOH Secretary, to please reconsider choosing Capas or NCC as a site for the quarantine station.
But the Health Department assures the local government of Capas that the nCoV will not easily spread. DOH Undersecretary Eric Domingo clarifies upcoming sporting events will not be affected since the complex will only be used for 2 weeks.
Hindi naman pwedeng lahat ng LGU aayaw. Mga kababayan naman natin itong uuwi.
The BCDA vows to keep Capaseños and adjacent communities safe as its task force implements preventive and precautionary measures in the venue. For News 5, Ria Fernandez, We Are One News.
Just overnight, more than 30 people were added to the list of persons under watch for the 2019 nCoV in the country. This brings the total to 215. One of the people being monitored died yesterday, but not from nCoV. Greg Gregorio with the details.
The number of persons under investigation for the 2019 novel coronavirus has risen to 215. This after authorities have identified 441 individuals who had an encounter with a Chinese couple in the Philippines who tested positive for nCoV. 235 of them have been interviewed. 203 are under home quarantine for being asymptomatic, while 32 of them have been admitted and are now considered as PUIs for having flu-like symptoms. As of the latest testing, the 38-year-old female Chinese national, the country's first nCoV case, is now getting better.
Yung latest niya was negative already, but we already sent sample for the second test kasi we need 2 consecutive tests to be negative before we discharge the patient.
As for the country's third nCoV case, that of a Chinese woman who has since returned to Wuhan, authorities were able to identify 106 individuals whom she had encounter with. 4 of them are now considered as PUIs, while 22 are under home quarantine. 1 PUI also died on Thursday, but the Health Department clarified that a Chinese man tested negative for the 2019 nCoV.
The second PUI death, which was confirmed yesterday, is a case of pneumonia in a patient with underlying restrictive lung disease.
Meanwhile, the cadaver of the second nCoV positive case in the country has already been properly disposed, but the DOH did not give further details.
For privacy reasons lang and for the dignity then of the buried, for the dignity of the deceased, they have been disposed of correctly. I cannot confirm or deny at this point.
However, Domingo disclosed that there are 9 PUIs refusing to be admitted due to anxieties over hospital expenses. He assured that the DOH is working with local authorities to convince them to get admitted. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, We Are One News.
Filipinos outside the country are also being monitored for nCoV. The domestic helper quarantined in Hong Kong, the DFA says, has been declared negative for the virus, and she has in fact been discharged by the Hong Kong Health Department. Meanwhile, Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello has apologized for the confusion over the death of OFW Amalia Da Prosa in Dubai. Bello earlier said that Da Prosa died of an unidentified strain of coronavirus, but Dubai media clarified that she succumbed ultimately to pneumonia. In Japan, 538 Filipinos are reportedly on board the MV Diamond Princess ship off the coast of Yokohama, which is now under a 14-day quarantine. Still on that cruise ship, currently under quarantine in Japan, another 41 people on board have tested positive for the new coronavirus, bringing the total confirmed cases on the ship to 61. All passengers have been told to stay within their rooms to prevent further spread of the virus. In Hong Kong, meanwhile, where 24 cases have been confirmed so far, shoppers are bulk purchasing products over fears of supply shortages. Household items, including toilet paper, are running out of stock. Other items are being rationed. China is doing all it can to contain the nCoV. That's what Chinese leader Xi Jinping told U.S. President Donald Trump in a phone call on Friday. State media reported that Xi also called on Washington to respond calmly and reasonably to the outbreak. The call came amid an outpouring of grief on Chinese social media over the death of ophthalmologist Li Wenliang. Li was among those reportedly detained for, quote, spreading rumors in late December. The 34-year-old doctor had sounded the alarm about the new coronavirus that ultimately took his own life.
展现出来的就是一个对社会的一个负责任的态度，他非常诚实守信，所以我觉得，对这个事情，我觉得全社会都要进行反思的。
Let's take a look at the latest figures on nCoV cases around the world. Chiki Verhel joins us from the newsroom. Chiki?
Robbie, what we have here is the 2019 nCoV interactive map of the Johns Hopkins University, which tracks the spread of the disease in real time. Now, if you take a look at the total confirmed cases over here, it says 31,515. It's actually 31,519 right now. And if you zero in on mainland China, tally is at 31,203. There are new confirmed cases in Vietnam and also the UK. Total in Vietnam is now at 10, and the UK has 2 total cases. Now let's look at the total of deaths, 638 right now. It says over here, mostly from mainland China. If we zero in on Hubei province, there's a total confirmed cases of 22,112. They now have recorded 618 deaths. Moving on over here, total recovered cases is 1,000. Current number is actually at the 1,678. As of this point, it was 1,665. But yes, this is actually the most current number. And if we actually, this means more people have recovered actually from the disease. A total of 1,678 individuals. This is from the 1,339 recorded yesterday. Back to you, Robbie.
Thank you, Chiki.